it like online? Because that's really what it is. It's the photographs and stuff come through the feed.
Right.
And I was like, what? Like, because she had like
because she did put it out
stuck
there.
under the bed, like the booty's up in the air with her head stuck under the bed. At 60.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to... That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh.
Y'all, not 50 Cent leaking some exclusive Freakoff footage that Terrence Howard sent him about Diddy's Freakoffs. Well, Terrence Howard is finally spilling the tea on Diddy, and trust is piping hot. For years, he's been vocal about how he was basically forced out of the industry after refusing to play along with some of their shady business. Well, now these new revelations about Diddy, it seems we're finally getting a look at just who all these powerful people were. But Diddy is not the only one caught up in this, because Terrence had a little something to say about Diddy's boo thang, Young Miami. He's making claims about how Young Miami was allegedly at these Freakoffs, but the real tea here is the things that he allegedly caught her doing on camera. Because y'all, it's nastier than you can ever imagine. Y'all, this situation is about to be wild, so let's break it all the way down. Y'all, the tea that Terrence Howard is spilling about Diddy is nothing short of insane. The wild part about this is that he spilled the tea unprovoked, because nobody knew that he even had dirt on Diddy in the first place. A couple of days ago, he sat down for a podcast interview, and let's just say he had some things to get off his chest about Diddy. And from the sound of it, his experience wasn't too different from what a bunch of other folks have been saying about Diddy for years now. Yeah, you know all that stuff about the alleged shady behavior, trying to lure people into uncomfortable or messy situations. Well, Terrence said Diddy hit him up talking about he needed to help with his acting. This is interesting though, because we know Diddy does act here and there, but not like all the time. I mean, he has made his appearance on a few shows, but nothing so serious that he would need an acting coach from Terrence Howard. But anyways, Terrence pulled up thinking it was all business, but once he got there, Diddy started acting real different, like he had some other plans. But Terrence made it clear and quick that he does not play those types of games, and he wasn't here for none of that, so he shut him all the way down.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music, and he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to... That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back.
Allegedly. He also wanted to make it clear that he wasn't the only one that Diddy had tried to put moves on. He claimed that Diddy allegedly put moves on every single man who had attended his parties. He said the man lost their man cards at those Diddy parties.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
It ain't safe. It ain't safe. It looks like nobody's really safe at Diddy's parties, because it's looking real shady out here. But what's wild is that it ain't even Terrence's first time speaking on this kind of shady behavior in Hollywood. He's actually been saying it for a minute now that he got punished and pushed out of the game because he wasn't willing to play by their rules. A few years back, Terrence opened up about what he says was the real reason he dipped out the industry and called it quits on acting. And no, it wasn't just because he was tired or not getting roles. He said straight up that Hollywood Hollywood was trying to strip him of his manhood. However, once he took his stand, that's when folks started calling him difficult and acting like he was the problem. It's the same old setup we've seen so many times with females in the industry. As soon as somebody speaks out or refuses to fall in line, the industry flips the script on them. So when he popped up talking about he was retiring from acting back in December 2022, folks were definitely caught off guard. This timing had people scratching their heads because it was still like he was landing big roles and the fan base was solid. There was no drama out in the open, no scandal that would have pushed him out the game like that. But according to Terrence, there was more going on behind the scenes. He said the industry was trying to put him in some real uncomfortable situations, stuff he felt was meant to strip away his manhood. And when he pushed back and said no, he claimed Hollywood didn't take too kindly to that. The next thing we know, he was out. He eventually came out of retirement, but he's still moving real cautiously. Since stepping back into the spotlight, Terrence hasn't been shy about pulling the curtain back on what he says is the shady side of the entertainment world. One thing he keeps calling out is the pressure he felt to wear a dress on screen, something he stood 10 toes down against. According to him, those scenes had nothing to do with the story and seemed like they were just meant to clown him or chip away at his manhood. Sounds a lot like Cat. And let's be clear, this ain't some brand new conversation. Over the years, quite a few black male actors have said the same thing, that producers tried to push them into wearing dresses in movies or skits where it didn't even make sense. Cat Williams said the same thing when he sat down with Club Shay Shay. He talked a lot about his whole emasculation issue. He revealed that it's way more common in Hollywood than folks might think. According to Cat, the pressures to throw on a dress or act in ways that are feminine and chip away at a man's masculinity usually comes packaged with the real sweet deal. He went on to say that he has actually turned down fat checks more than once because of this exact issue.
Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
I need another one. You here, get you another one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accusing me of being...
But at the time, Terrence immediately jumped into action to throw in his own 2 cents, and he had something very interesting to say. Y'all remember how the rumor mill was spinning saying that Terrence got fired because of his temper and folks were claiming he was too difficult to work with? But after Cat Williams' interview dropped, Terrence came through to clear the air. He shut them rumors down and made it clear that the real reason he got replaced was because he stood firm. He wasn't about to let the industry play him or strip him of his manhood. And according to him, that's exactly why they let him go. He said, "My daddy taught me, never take vertebrae out your back or the base out your throat. I ain't raising sheep, I raised men. Stay a man. Being a man comes with a curse because it's not a society made for men to flourish anymore. Everything is androgynous, you know. The more successful men now are they effeminate." But he didn't stop there, because in another interview, Terrence once again confirmed that there was a secret plot to effeminize black men because they see strong black men as a threat. In the interview, he said, "The man has been demonized with the new formula. Most men are made to be effeminate and not have their power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be able to be strong, but when it's a black man, it's seen as a threat. I don't want to remove a few chromosomes to fit in someone's story, so I feel they need to expand their stories to allow men to be men and simultaneously appreciate a woman's beauty." Now, considering his recent statements about Diddy, it's no surprise that fans have started to pull the pieces together, and honestly, it's beginning to look a lot like sense. But that's not where it ends. According to an insider, Terrence is reportedly holding back even more explosive information, details that could even be more damaging than what he's already revealed. And according to 50 Cent, it all has to do with Diddy's side piece, Young Miami. Now, after Terrence's interview went viral, 50 Cent claimed that he was going to stay out of it and not say nothing. He said, "No comment, I'm staying positive, God help us all." However, it looks like he might have changed his mind because he's now making some insane claims about how he has some nasty freak-off footage. There are reports that Terrence allegedly took the video at one of those parties that he attended, and the footage allegedly showed Young Miami in some interesting circumstances. But this isn't exactly shocking because the streets have been saying that the city girl Young Miami knows way more than she's telling. There have even been rumors of her being involved in freak-offs, and not as a victim, but a conspirator, allegedly. So for example, when his side piece Gina Hewen posted a picture of her and Diddy, Miami went into a jealous rage and threatened to make Diddy force Gina into a freak-off. She said,
15 and you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture hole. You've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as a B that eat P and D when he felt like it. You a eater. You're the same B that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby. Poor Sushi. She continued, you wanted a baby, B. I have a career hoe. You a certified freak. You haven't heard from Diddy since the awards reminiscing on getting rid of babies. Let that her go, Chun-Li. If I wanted you to eat me, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You a eater, B. You a munch. Not a munch, but don't even get me started on how she allegedly bullied one of Diddy's other side pieces when she got pregnant with Diddy's baby. The court documents say that the victim, choosing to stay anonymous, is filing as a Jane Doe, was reportedly coerced into taking some substances at Diddy's house. It said, in July of 2022, Jane Doe traveled at defendant Combs' command to his home in Los Angeles. While in defendant Combs' bathroom, Jane Doe was compelled to ingest an unknown substance. Jane Doe later learned it was or contained the ketamine and or other substance, which caused Jane Doe to black out and lose consciousness intermittently throughout the night. Jane Doe did not consent to ingesting ketamine and or other substances. She went on to claim that while she was passed out from the substances, she woke up with bruises all over her body, indicating that something bad had happened to her while she was passed out. She wrote, Combs would make her perform a show for him and would ply her with alcohol and substances until she passed out. She would wake up with bruising and injuries, but with no recollection of how she sustained her injuries. This continued until July of 2024. But the went on to claim that she eventually got pregnant with Diddy's baby, which caused Young Miami to allegedly bully her until she had a miscarriage. The document said, shortly thereafter, Jane Doe took a pregnancy test, which was positive. The lawsuit against Diddy continues. Jane Doe informed defendant Combs of the positive test. Carisha Brown-Lee, defendant Combs' associate, harassed Jane Doe by repeatedly calling her and telling Jane Doe to have a termination. Jane Doe suffered a miscarriage and did not speak to defendant Combs or his team for approximately 3 months. Yes, y'all, Carisha Brown-Lee is Young Miami, aka City Girls. But it's not hard to believe that Young Miami would go after a woman like that, given how hard she crashed out when Diddy had a baby with another woman back in 2022. And then there's Little Rod's lawsuit, in which he made some even more disturbing claims about Young Miami. Allegedly, not only was she heavily involved, but she also had some other relatives involved, allegedly. In this updated lawsuit, he alleged that Young Miami wasn't just a guest at Diddy's parties where the questionable activities may have taken place. She was also a silent witness to everything that happened. He even pointed out a specific incident where Diddy reportedly had Young Miami's cousin attempt to SA him at an event. He wrote, Mr. Combs was intoxicated and offered cocaine to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones rejected him and proceeded to walk to the restroom. While using the restroom, Young Miami's cousin burst into the bathroom and began groping Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs sent her in there to SA Mr. Jones. As she entered the bathroom, she dropped to her knees and began performing oral action on Mr. Jones's exposed privates. Mr. Jones pushed her away and exited the bathroom. It continued, Young Miami's cousin did not accept Mr. Jones's rejection as she proceeded to follow Mr. Jones out the bathroom. She started undressing, attempted to straddle him and have intimacy with him in the presence of Mr. Combs and his staff. The document said, on another occasion in Miami, Florida on Thanksgiving night 2022, Mr. Combs asked Mr. Jones and DeForest Taylor to enter the studio bathroom. He asked them for a $100 bill because he wanted them to do nose candy with him. Mr. Jones was scared, but luckily he didn't have a $100 bill, so Mr. Combs waited a little later to do nose candy with Young Miami. He also accused Young Miami of allegedly helping Diddy to transport substances, as well as bringing substances to Diddy whenever he needed it, no matter where he was. According to the court documents, plaintiff and the Combs Rico Enterprise were rehearsing for Something in the Water Festival in Virginia. The court filing reads, Plaintiff Jones personally witnessed Mr. Combs do a few lines of coke in his dressing room. Defendant Sean Combs wanted Tucci, but Brendan forgot it, so defendant Christina Coram, who then brought it on the jet from Miami. He went on to accuse Young Miami of being an S-worker for Diddy and getting a monthly payment in exchange for her services. The court documents said Young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were paid a monthly fee work as Mr. Combs' S-workers and received payment via wire transfer from Robin Greenhill, which outlined defendant's ongoing criminal operation. So there have been multiple accounts of people linking Young Miami to Diddy, and it looks like 50 Cent allegedly has some videos of her caught in 4K. And honestly, 50 Cent is the last person you want having tea on you, because that man is as petty as and messy as they come. And when you factor in this beef with Diddy and what's been going on for more than 20 years, well, you can say things are looking
looking good for Young Miami. And Terrence Howard might be telling the truth, but on 50, it's only a matter of time before he leaks the tape and blows up the drama again. But in the meantime, I want to know what y'all feel about Young Miami being dragged in this all over again because of Terrence Howard's comments. Drop your thoughts and comments below and then check out this next video, because it's hard out here for a pimp when they're trying to get them subscribers for rent.